What's going on, guys? Jacoborth back here with another video of Jacob's Life in Vegas, coming to you guys today with a topic that might be interesting to a fair amount of you. Talking today about Las Vegas. We're going to be talking about neighborhoods here, zip codes, and the extremes and differences versus the rich neighborhoods and the poor neighborhoods here in Las Vegas. So we're going to get into this today. So guys, go ahead and give this a thumbs up if you guys like seeing something like this. We're going to show you guys the two ends of the spectrum here with some numbers, with some statistics and things like that in Las Vegas when it comes to these neighborhoods. And before we get going, I'll even ask you guys, after I give you this question, you can pause, put your answer in the comments. Which areas of Las Vegas you think, or which one do you think is going to be the richest and which one is the poorest? And I'm going to be doing this video by zip code, but you can use, whatever area, you can name neighborhood, master plan, community, part of town, whatever, however you want to put it. Go ahead, you can take your guess, put it down in the comments, and we'll jump into it and we'll see how correct you are. And today what you're gonna see when it comes to some of the comparisons we're gonna make between the two zip codes here are things like the income levels. That's gonna be a big one. The real estate price is gonna be another big one. And then another everyone mention are things like, is it every celebrities that have lived like in the rich part of here of Las Vegas. Some of you might find that a little interesting, but let me say this for this video when it comes to, all the information you're about to get here, is that this is not meant to be the end-all be-all of good and bad neighborhoods here in the Las Vegas area, okay? This is much more of a reference point because depending on what sources you use, where you find the information, the data can obviously be different, right? And with a lot of this data, it's really, taking a best estimate when it comes to this kind of thing. So how the data is gathered, how it's measured, how it's researched, where it comes from, and even some of the terms like the richest versus the poorest. For this video, it's for the purposes of income in these areas, not net worth, okay? Because those two are not correlated. A high income is not always correlated with a high net worth, and a low income is not always correlated with a low net worth. So just understand that this is really to give you more of a perspective than to be the end-all be-all of this subject. The two zip codes we're going to be comparing today are 89030. That is in North Las Vegas, and that is the poorest zip code that is shown here in the Las Vegas area. The other zip code we're going to be talking about is 89109, which is actually an unincorporated Las Vegas. It's very close. It's actually part of it's on the dividing line between the city of Las Vegas and unincorporated Las Vegas. And Henderson is not on this list because Henderson does, if you look at like the top 15, 16 richest zip codes in the Vegas Valley, Henderson has a few on there, but if you look at the poorest zip codes in the Vegas Valley, Henderson has 0. So Henderson's not even on this list for either one of these. Now, the poorest zip code in Las Vegas, 89030, the average adjusted gross income for that area is just over $30,000 a year. About $30,300 is that income. The unemployment rate is about 12.5%, which is higher than the current county unemployment level of about 6%, and it's higher than the state unemployment level at about 9.9%. And it's higher than the national unemployment level, which is somewhere in the vicinity of 6.7%. And the violent crime there is 73.9 is what it is. The average in the US is 22.7, okay? So the violent crime there is we're looking at more than triple what the national average is when it comes to neighborhoods across Las Vegas. So that's what you're looking at if you're looking at the poorest neighborhood in the Las Vegas Valley. And the cost of living there is lower as well. Cost of living is an 82 out of 100. So if 100 is being the average cost of living in the US, this comes in at 82. So it's even lower than the average cost of living in the entire country. Now, the home values in the area are up 9.1% over the past year, and Zillow predicts that they're going to rise 5.6% in the next year. So that is Zillow's prediction on the home price appreciation. You can, depending on how much you trust Zillow, you can take it or leave it. And then the homes for sale in 89030 have a median listing price of $224,990. So right around $225,000 is what you're looking at. Now, on the flip side, if we go over and talk about the richest neighborhood or the richest zip code in the Las Vegas area, 89109, which is not Summerlin. That's probably what most people thought it was going to be. They thought the richest was going to be Summerlin. Well, remember, again, depending on how some of this stuff is measured, can make a big difference. So 89109 is actually an area that covers a lot of Las Vegas Boulevard, which is something that may be surprising to a lot of people. This zip code, the average adjusted gross income is $265,250. Now, to people that may sound surprising because if you're, especially the locals know this, lots of the areas like right near the Strip are not considered to be very good areas. And I mean, even in fact, the area I'm standing in right now here, over on Karen Avenue, a lot of this area here is not known for being very good. So I'm standing over in this area here, east of the Las Vegas Strip. You know, a lot of people will say, hey, this is not the best part of town when you're over here. But what this zip code does have is this right here, Las Vegas Country Club Estates. So literally on the other side, I mean, you have poor apartments and complexes here, you have lower income here, then literally across the street on the other side of this wall, you have very, very nice properties. It's an expensive place to live. You're on a golf course here. That also in this zip code has other properties too that have lots of wealthy people living there. So like Turnberry Towers, Turnberry Place. You also have numerous properties on the Strip where people live in condos there that, you know, can be $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $4 million plus to live in some of these condos. So really this area 89109, what you have is you definitely have a stark contrast here. You do have people that are low income, that are very much on the lower end of the income spectrum here in the Vegas area, but you have people also on the very high end of the spectrum, where a lot of them, this is probably, you know, even a second home for them or just a vacation home. So these people that are really on the high end in this area definitely skew the average income up for this zip code here. Now also, you're looking at a place here that has, you know, historically been a very nice, wealthy neighborhood here, the Las Vegas Country Club Estates. I mean, there have been people who've lived in this place, like Debbie Reynolds, Rodney Dangerfield, George Carlin, Lefty Rosenthal. I mean, people like that a lot of them have lived inside of the Las Vegas Country Club. So this area, this particular area right here, has been known for having lots of wealthy people live in it. Now, the unemployment for this area for the 89109 is 11.4%. Which is higher than the county unemployment level of 6%, and higher than the state unemployment, which is close to 10%, and higher than the national unemployment rate at 6.7%. Now, really what makes this zip code wealthy is, like I mentioned earlier, lots of the high-end properties, lots of the really wealthy condos, people who live here on the golf course, and things like that. Those are the people who really are the ones who increase the income level when it comes to this zip code. So the poorest zip code we have here in the Vegas Valley, you know, you could say that most of the people there are going to be relatively in a similar income bracket. However, when you look at the zip code here, that's considered to be the richest in Las Vegas by this data, you're going to get much more of a contrast. You're going to have people in this zip code here that are very much on the low income side, but you're going to have people that are very much on the wealthy side. They have high income and a high net worth. So those really are the two extremes when it comes to the end of the spectrum here in Las Vegas. So the lowest income area, the highest income area according to this data, you can use as a reference point for yourself, whether you're looking to live, you know, Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, Henderson, anything like that. You can kind of get at least a gauge, at least a little bit better of an idea for those of you that are looking to move here, or if you live here already, you just thought it was interesting info. So I appreciate you guys checking out this video. Thank you guys for being so awesome. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done so yet. I appreciate you watching. That's it for this one. I am Jacob, and this is my life in Vegas.